Just remember, I'm the imagination contrarian. You've been warned. Hey everybody, Mikey Lito here with another matinee review, getting it in by the skin of my teeth just before midnight. It's Alex Garland's Civil War, a modern day fable, a fairy tale, a not too distant future allegory about life in these United States. Or is that what it's really about? Let's talk about it, shall we? So, this is a movie that I've been looking forward to for a little while because I wasn't quite sure what it was that I was seeing. Uh, they have this slam bang trailer that I guess is showing on TV and YouTube and all over the place. And I only saw it in theaters. And I have to be honest with you, before I saw the movie this afternoon, I was quite disquieted uh, by what I thought this movie was, which is basically taking advantage of the current political situation in the United States in order to make some money. And it kind of reminded me of the movie Songbird, which appeared in 2020, that was about the COVID 23 virus while we were all stuck in our houses. And so, even so, I was disquieted by the previews. I decided to go and see the movie today. Now, I've been uh, hung up with illness for the past couple of weeks, so I haven't gotten to see Godzilla Kong the New Empire yet. And hopefully, I'll be able to see that in the future. But this was the first time that I was able to get out and get back into the theater to see this film. So, what are we talking about here? What we have here is Kirsten Dunst. She is a longtime war photographer. She's seen it all, and she's kind of dead inside. And she plays Lee, and she's there on the ground with uh, it's Kaylee Spaney, who plays Jesse. Now, as I said, Lee is this war weary correspondent, and she travels around with her partner, Joel, as they go from one war torn area to another. Now, we don't get really explained by writer director Alex Garland uh, why the Civil War got started, why California and Texas are hooking up together. There's also a lot of other alliances going on. There's like five or, well, let's say four or five different alliances going on during the Civil War, but the main fighting seems to be between the Western forces, which is California and Texas, and the so called US of A, the prevailing United States of America. Now, those two characters, and as I mentioned, we have Jessie. She is the third character that we're following. She is a young woman who wants to be a wartime photographer like Lee, but she doesn't really know what she's doing, and she's taken under her wing by Lee and Joel. Now, there's a fourth member of our little troop. He is Sammy, and he has he gave the best performances in the movie. Stephen McKinley Henderson is the actor's name, and he plays Sammy. Uh, he is an old time war correspondent, and he's about to make his last run with the rest of our trio as they go from Brooklyn to Washington, D.C., not the direct way, but the long way, 807 miles through Pennsylvania, West Virginia, and Virginia before getting to Washington, D.C. They travel through these small towns and across highways and byways that are all jammed up, seeing the sights that they can see. Uh, they end up at this way station. Well, it's not a way station, it's a stadium where they can get some food and relax for a little bit before continuing on with their journey. And Lee tries her best to take Jessie under her wing in order to uh, teach her the ropes and not get killed. So they travel from place to place. Lee insists that Jessie get Kevlar and a helmet. And apparently they think these press credentials that they carry are going to keep them safe for the most part. Now, Joel also helps out with Lee in training Jessie how to get from place to place until they meet this guy. Now, apparently, this is an uncredited role. It's by Jesse Plemons, who I last saw in Killers of the Flower Moon. He plays a really spooky character that we see about 2/3 of the way through the film. And it provides one of the tense moments in the film. And this is Nick Offerman. He plays the President of the United States. You're seeing him right now for about as long as he is in the film. He appears at the beginning of the film and at the end of the film, and not too much else otherwise. So he's kind of, well, I won't say what I think that he's supposed to be, at least not right this second. But he is now serving his third term, and if you know anything about the United States of America, our presidents only have 2 terms, and he's in his third term. So that'll kind of let you know how he's getting there. As we get through the film, we see some military set pieces. This is one of the Western forces, and our troop ends up hanging out with them for a while and getting some R&R, some rest and recuperation, and some other things. And yes, folks, there's walls. There's a wall in this film. So, let me see if I can get this up again. I tell you, this is really, really a strange film. And you might wonder what I think about it. Before I tell you what I think about it, you should see a couple of other things. For example, this is the rating that the movie got on Rotten Tomatoes. It is certified fresh. It got an 82%. It has an audience score of 82%, and you can see down below the tomato meter that the rating that the critics gave it, oops, I didn't mean to go there, was a 7.8 out of 10. And the audience gave it a 4.1 out of 5, which would be 8.2 out of 10. Pretty impressive, eh? On Metacritic, it got a Metascore of 77 from all the different critics. And let me just blow this up so that I can see. 80% positive, 20% mixed, and 0 negative. The audience was not quite as forgiving. 67% positive, 13% mixed, and 21% negative. So you might ask, what does Mikey Lito think of this movie? There you see the scale that I use, 1 to 10 from Track TV. I gave Alex Garland's Civil War. Well, wait a minute. Before we go there, let's see what I said coming right out of the movie theater. That has to be the worst movie I've seen in a long, long time. I want to give it a 2 out of 10, but I'm going to give it a 3 out of 10. And here I am in the studio explaining why. Yeah, 3 out of 10, equivalent to 1.5 stars. I did not buy anything in this movie. It did not strike real to me. Art Foursome does not go through a lot of random checkpoints. There doesn't really seem to be a whole lot of. I didn't feel scared for them as they were traveling from New York to DC the long way, the circuitous way. They came upon a checkpoint and they were basically just let through after they checked their press credentials. 2 different times, well, maybe 3 times if you want to count a set piece that was about a third of the way through the film, but basically 2 different times where their lives were in danger before getting to DC. To me, this movie seemed like a liberal's wet dream. Now, I consider myself a progressive. Some people might consider me a socialist, but I just did not buy into anything that was happening in this movie. Now, I'm told from reading and listening to what other people have to say about this film that I guess my take on the film is completely wrong. It was really more about the press and how they cover incidents like this, and that even though the movie was set in the United States, it wasn't really about the United States. You know, I don't really know. All I can say to you is uh not a movie you necessarily want to take the family out to see and spend a whole lot of money. Uh some people might tell you to wait for streaming. I don't even if you happen to be passing through a channel and happen to be on, yeah, well, I guess it would be okay to watch it. Now, after I saw the film and after I had my mind made up about how I felt about the film, I listened to a review from one of my uh, favorite people, um, Dan. Can't think of his last name right now. I'm pretty sure you guys know who I'm talking about. Um, Dan loved the film. I didn't hate it, but I didn't really particularly care for it either. So 3 out of 10, 1.5 star equivalent. That's how I felt about the film. I'm sure based on the rating that other people gave it. Let me see if I can find a cinema score because it's now late enough. No, it still hasn't been posted. So, but based on the scores that we've already seen, probably has a pretty decent cinema score as well. But like I said, I didn't particularly care for it. So that's my opinion. Watch content, form opinion. You've just heard mine. I'd like to hear yours. And if you will, comment down below if you saw the film, if your opinion's the same as mine, if it's different from mine. Leave a comment and let me know what you think. Like and share this video, and please subscribe to the channel at Mikey Lito Live. And you can also find me on these social media channels and at my leisure blog at MikeyLito.blog and also MikeyLito.com. I will leave a link to Dan Murrow's review down below. And Robert Meyer Burnett also had a discussion about this movie prior to him seeing it. I'll leave a link in the description to that as well. Until next time, no, let's see what I have scheduled. I know The Fall Guy is on the schedule. I don't have a movie scheduled for next week, but that does not mean that I will not go see uh, something. But I have 2 movies planned. One is The Fall Guy, and the other is Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. So The Fall Guy is Friday, May 3rd, and Planet of the Apes will be Friday, May 10th. And that's what will be coming up. And if I have something next week, excuse me, you can check on the my main YouTube page and also on my Twitter account where I usually give the ratings of movies half an hour after I get out of the theater if you don't want to wait all day like you did today. So that's it. Until next time, Mikey Lito saying so long. Hopefully I'll feel better as time goes on. And until then, this is me saying ciao for now.